Good morning. I'm going to talk this morning about the media choices, so stage 3 of the 8-stage learning design framework. Media choices seems like it might, to some people, come at the wrong point in the design process, but I think it's at exactly the right place. You've already done a broad overview of your institutional context. You've then done some student profiles, so you know the kinds of students that you're anticipating, and you will have made some judgments about their digital competency at that point and their access to resources. You've then defined the context, the discipline context and or professional context in which those students are headed. So now's exactly the right time to explore those themes again through a particular prism, a particular filter, if you like, which is media. And in the process, you'll define some of the resources that you might end up using. So media choices is really about trying to work out what students' approaches are to media, staff approaches, the institutional approach, and then the professional approach. So first of all, I just want to explain what I mean by media. And I mean that I use the term as both the channel and the content. So media in this context means both whether or not you're using a virtual learning environment or a discussion forum or video or podcasts. That constitutes a form of media. But also I mean the physical learning content itself, or virtual content, but the learning itself. So the media might be journal articles, it might be set readings, it might be PowerPoints that are authored by tutors and so on. So all of those judgments form the kind of the weight or the balance of a media strategy for a particular program or a particular module. I'll provide some links below that might help you decide on an approach. But if you're following the 8-stage learning design framework, by this stage you will begin to have something of a clear idea about whether or not you as faculty, for example, understand enough or indeed have the skills or abilities yourself to enable students to face emerging professional challenges in terms of how they might handle media. And if you don't, then you need to source some input from the professions in order to make that happen for your current students. It's really interesting that you have programs that sometimes are delivering an older version of a piece of software or indeed an out-of-date piece of software that may actually be really foundational to a particular profession. Maybe because the licenses are cheaper, maybe because it's easier to learn, but clearly then students graduate with a false impression of what their capabilities are, and businesses and disciplines are very often surprised at the relative lack of skills that students actually have. So I think having a media strategy in place just makes a lot of sense. So the questions that we ask are largely around students' abilities and capacities, approaches, orientations to media, channel and content, staff's ability to handle those things, what the institutional resources are, whether there's a walled garden, a heavily curated collection, or whether you're happy for students to venture beyond the bounds of the institution, and really what the professional and the discipline needs are.